I'm Gil Junger.
Susan May Pratt.
I'm Andrew Keegan.
And we're here at Street Food Cinema
for our film,
10 Things I Hate About You. Check it out.
You guys ready to bring the cast out here, everyone? Our first gentleman coming to the stage. You recognize him from the film as Joey Donner. Please welcome to the stage Andrew Keegan, everybody. Joining us next, you recognize her as the woman who has a definite taste for Shakespeare. She's Mandella. It's Susan May Pratt. Make some noise for her. And the man behind our master plan, our director tonight, please give a big round of applause to Gil Junger, everybody. Make some noise. It means a great deal. On a personal note, this is a movie that came out when I was right in the middle of high school, so every one of the songs, every one of the themes really struck home. Tell us a little bit, just to start off, how did the project come to you, Gil? How did you actually hear about this? Were you in it from the beginning with the tandem? Who wrote it?
I actually did I was a sitcom director.
On Ellen, correct?
I did an episode of Ellen that was got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And so I thought, it was the coming out episode of Ellen. And I thought if I was ever going to have the chance to make the leap to features, this would be the time when people were talking about that episode. And literally 2 weeks later, Andrew Lazar, the producer of this movie, had CAA, my agency, send me the script, and I was like, oh my God, this, yes.
Right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
Literally, it was 3 weeks after the Ellen episode came out, and I got hired. I had the meeting, and I was literally hired the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So an Emmy win and this film. Now, the cast in this was huge.
Amazing.
I mean, we have two of them here.
Amazing.
Allison Janney, Larry Miller, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Obviously, we know about Heath Ledger. How did you guys come to the project? Did you, Andrew, you can go ahead and tell me first. Did you add, it looks like there's a grin. It seems like a conspicuous way.
No, I'm trying to remember, actually. I was like, you were... Just get me started, and I'll see if what...
You were wearing dark blue jeans, and I'm not even kidding, and you're wearing a white T-shirt.
I do remember
and you came into Disney, and you read, and the instant you walked out of the room, you had the part.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't have known that. Now,
So that does happen. You can just walk in the room and nail it.
Well, he nailed it, but he was also, after
And he
seeing
didn't have to
175 other...
Because I had to screen test.
I don't think he screen tested.
That's not fair.
it's about to start up here. It's gonna...
Oh, shit, I'm in trouble.
Wait a minute. Because I auditioned in New York, and then you guys flew me out to L.A., and I had to do a full-on screen test, hair, makeup, cameras, action.
Oh, we didn't know if you were pretty enough.
Oh, all right, I'm going to
obviously
sit between you two. That's fine. You could just... Andrew, I got to ask, because your character in the film is, how do I put this, possibly one of the most unlikable, likable bad guys in a teen comedy ever.
Would everybody agree with that?
Would everybody agree?
Likeable,
yeah.
unlikable?
Likable,
Yeah.
unlikable.
It was interesting. We actually did this last year, and I had not seen the film in a really long time, probably since nearly the beginning. And it was an interesting experience because it is a very ego-centered type of a character, and yet there's just something that came through, which I would hope is, my real who I am personality. But no, he's definitely a character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I credit you with being the first one to do Blue Steel and Magnum. There's a scene where you stack up beer cans and you're talking. All right, so there's this one, and that's underwear, right?
Yeah,
and this is
right.
And and this is exactly Blue Steel and Magnum. So I give you the first credit before it was ever
Maybe
done.
we should hit those guys up. I got a good lawyer.
They stole that. They stole that from you.
Stole that. Yeah. Thank you for giving me credit.
Exactly.
I appreciate
Susan, you had a big Shakespeare part in this, and of course the film is now on all the blogs about it. Taming of the Shrew. There's so much relation to Shakespeare. How delved into the part did you get? Did you really live it?
Well, I do remember reading Taming of the Shrew, the full thing by Shakespeare, and for research. I was much more serious about my job then.
It is a great side. It's a great. And I will say this: every single one of the characters existed with a purpose in this film. Where sometimes when you have a large ensemble cast, you feel like some people have to be written in. A lot of the actors are their first and second time. I heard it was the first major motion picture for Heath. How do you go about directing people who are in their very first big shot?
Well, it was actually the first film for Heath, for Julia, for Susan,
Wow.
And for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It was
Really?
all of their first film.
Wow. Now that's
And it was my first film.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just came off an Emmy, right?
I didn't win the Emmy. I was nominated. Don't upset
Sorry.
me.
I apologize.
Very upsetting.
You should have. I think that goes without saying. This is one of those movies that had a great credit scene at the end where you guys were all having fun. There was a lot of outtakes. It looked like it was a lot of fun. Do you guys have any specific memories from the actual screen, the actual shooting of it that ring true to you? No?
The last scene?
Well, I mean, there's outtakes. Anytime you see outtakes at the end of the film, you guys put outtakes at the end of the film.
Remember they beat you up? Remember at
Yes.
the dance? You punched
Well,
Joseph?
No. When Larissa was doing
Yeah.
the scene at the end where she was punching me in the nose, she kept hitting me in the nose. She just kept clipping my nose, but I think she was wanted to, though, for some reason. I can't remember why.
This scenery for this film was shot in Seattle. I'm from Seattle. How did you guys get days with no rain? It was the most beautiful backdrop I've ever seen. It's Stadium High School in Tacoma. And it's like this beautiful Gothic place, and you guys picked the music so iconic with it as well. Specific questions. Do you, as somebody who played somebody who was unlikable but also likable, when you get recognized or when you got recognized from it outside of the movie, did people have like an apprehension towards you? Like, hey, what's up, you dick? No, never?
They
Never?
probably just didn't walk up at all. They just walked by and went like, that's that dick. So the people that walked up at that point had already gotten over that, I think. So I'm sure it happened. I'm sure it's happened a few times.
Yeah. When we're talking about the effect it had on the rest of pictures after this, we're going to take some questions from the audience here in just a second. But the dialogue was really intense in this film. I mean, it took the very intellectual side of teenage discussion to another level. Was it hard for you guys to memorize all these lines? If it was a well-constructed, I mean, was it difficult at all?
Well, the writers, I must say, the writers did their job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
No, it wasn't
it's also
hard.
very true. When the writing is organic, it's so much easier for the actors to remember.
Right.
And then when the writing is forced and it sounds written, the actors will struggle with it because it doesn't make sense to remember that because people don't talk that way.
Right. It's not inherent in their emotion to say that. It wouldn't be there.
And what I did notice, I have to give Gil a compliment, last time we watched the film, is the nuance that isn't in the script, is moments that you caught to segue things, and it was hysterical watching it last year. So
Yeah.
you'll get to see that, obviously, in a little bit.
Excellent. I know we have a lot of people lined up. Our first question, why don't you go ahead and talk in the microphone. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys. My name is Kaylee. I do have a question.
Where are you?
She's right behind the projector. Just
We
look
can't see
into
it
the
because the
God.
light.
Look into the God light.
Behind everybody.
Okay.
Hi, Kaylee.
I do have a question for each of you. When you think back about shooting this film, I was just wondering, like, for each of you, what is one on-set moment that when you think of 10 things I had about you, like, you think of that moment?
There's quintessential scenes. I mean, I think each one of you has a quintessential scene.
For me, it's not really in the shooting of the movie. It was we would all go out to dinner every night. Being in Tacoma with the whole cast, it really sort of made this nice atmosphere because there wasn't anything else to do other than hang out with each other. So we would go out to dinner every night as the cast. So that's what I remember from the shoot.
On that same note, I think the memories are really being together. I know we've shared a lot of intimate stories at times, but for me, there was a 5-mile drive. I believe it's a 5-mile drive through the mountains. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing that drive with Heath and Trevor, and just such a beautiful experience being in nature, and of course having that memory. Of course, the joints back then were huge, and so it really made the scenery
we
extra
legalized
enjoyable.
it now, so that's
exactly.
good. We took the
so those moments are priceless, and of course, the late Heath Ledger, to have had that time and to have been able to have had that experience with everyone, of course. But that was probably a memory that I'll never forget.
Gil, do you have one specifically?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of the movie, I think of the night, the afternoon before we were the first day of shooting, and it was the afternoon before my first day of my first motion picture, which is a very big deal.
Yeah.
And I walked out there with on what they call a tech scout, and I was standing in the yard in front of the house that the family lived in, and you could see the sound when sailboats. And I just said to these 60 crew guys, I said, how cool would it be if I had a 60-foot crane and I was way, way, way up there, and you start on a sailboat and you pull back and you realize, oh my God, look at this town. And then you slowly reveal this beautiful little house, and then you came up to the side of the house, and if there was a huge bay window in the side of that house, and if the camera could just push right through the window, right up to Julia Stiles' face reading that book, wouldn't that be awesome? But there was no window on the side of the house. And this was my first movie. And the crew guys, without taking a second, said, okay, done. What else you need? And I said, what do you mean? Well, we'll put the window in. You'll put the window in tonight in someone's home? Oh, yeah. Wow. And that's when I thought, holy shit. This is the movie business. I am not in TV anymore. Well, it was power, but I was just so amazed by whatever the director kind of wanted, as long as it creatively made sense, they would do. And they put in a bay window inside of a home in 14 hours.
Oh, my God.
That, to me, was a pretty big rush.
Wonder.
Pretty cool.
That's perfect. We got another question here. Next question.
Hello.
Hi.
Julia.
Hi, Julia.
My question is for everyone. Other than Taming of the Shrew, what is your favorite Shakespeare play?
Favorite Shakespeare play?
I've got a shameless plug on that one. I did another film based on Othello called O, which was a tragedy. And anybody seen that film?
Yeah.
So that was another experience, which was an incredible cast, and it was a tragedy, of course, and so kind of really diving deep. Tim Blake Nelson is the director? Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson. Sorry, all those names. And so it was a really different experience. It was in the South, Charleston, South Carolina, and that would have been, I think, the year after we did this. So, and that was actually really a physical film. So I was playing basketball and really got to get involved in sort of a different version of Shakespeare, or different style.
Updating, and I remember it very well. Yeah.
Great film, really great film.
It was. Susan?
That would be mine.
I like Midsummer's Night's Dream.
Very well, yeah, exactly.
I loved Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. That was an unbelievable interpretation, I thought.
It was.
And although it wasn't a play, Shakespeare in Love was a pretty spectacular film.
It was indeed. All right, we got another one. Let another one fire question. We got another.
That was actually the last.
That was the last question.
That's
All right.
it?
That
No
was the last of
questions?
the audience
Everybody's like,
questions.
let's watch the movie. Come on.
I did such a good job. You guys. I want to extend a final thank you to all of you. I hope you understand that this is a movie that when it was seen by the people who it was written about, that age group, it stuck with them. It gave them something to shoot for. The female characters in this movie were empowered and smart and the ones in control. Larry Miller was a father that showed love and tolerance and patience and compromise. So thank you for making such a special film, and thank you for being here with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
And thank you. How great is he?
Hey.
Great host.
Hey,
Thank
it's
you.
a plug.
Thank you guys for enjoying the film. It's a treat to show it.
Appreciate it.
Andrew Keegan, Susan May Pratt, and Gil Junger, everybody. Make some noise for him.